My dear Delilah, since the rise of Skeletron, I have committed myself wholeheartedly to the task of putting him back in the ground. Because, while it might be an old ideology, I believe that skeletons only belong in one of two places, either within a body or under the ground. As I believe it unlikely I will find a body large enough to store Skeletron, I have endeavored to put him back in the ground. My plan to kill Skeletron comes in 3 different parts. Part 1 involves me getting better armor. My plan to get better armor comes in 3 different parts. Part 1 of my plan to get better armor involves scavenging for more resources. While doing so, I could not help but draw similarities between myself and a squirrel searching for nuts. Remembering your world-renowned hatred for squirrels, I do hope, my dear Delilah, that you will forgive this similarity. I do it not by choice, but due to my love for you, my dear Delilah. So far, part 1 of my plan has gone successfully. I have come across gold, my dear Delilah, which, as you well may know, as a metallurgist, I'm well aware is the hardest metal known to man. Part 2 of part 1 of my 3-part plan involves turning said gold into gold bars, because running at Skeleton with a bunch of gold dust in your pockets is not a good way to win a fight. However, my dear Delilah, what is a good way to win a fight against Skeletron is running at him with shiny gold armor. Which brings me rather swiftly to my next step. Use the gold bars forged in part 2 of part 1 of the 3-part plan to create some very fancy armor, which is, as you may well have guessed, my dear Delilah, part 3 of part 1 of the 3-part plan. Having now completed parts 1 to 3 of part 1 of the 3-part plan, it's now time to move on to part 2 of the 3-part plan, which is itself in 2 parts. Part 2 rather simply consists of getting weapons and then getting more weapons. That's both part 1 and part 2 of part 2. You see, it's 2 stages. Stage 1, get weapons. Stage 2, get more weapons. If you believe I could have combined part 1 and part 2 of part 2 into only one part, I beg your forgiveness, my dear Delilah. I am not exactly dedicating my time to creating concise lists, as I am busy trying to slay a demon. And then finally, my dear Delilah, perhaps the most important part of the 3-part plan, part 3. I call it the Killing Grounds, which is not just a pretty cool name for a garage band, but also the name of the Killing Grounds. When last I faced Skeletron, my demise came because I ran out of room to run. I had on me my sweet shoes, my dear Delilah, but nowhere exactly to use them. As such, I have now carved out a large flat area of land on which I can run from the demon. As Skeletron chases me, I can rain swift vengeance upon him with my new fancy weapons. Aside from that, my dear Delilah, the plan is rather simple. Once I have shot Skeletron enough times, I intend for him to be killed. Which is exactly why I named these grounds the Killing Grounds. You see, it all ties rather neatly together. My dear Delilah, decked out with my cool new armor, my fancy new weapons, and within a short hop, skip, and jump to the Killing Grounds, I challenge Skeletron for a second bout. The battle raged for much longer than I had ever expected, but it turns out that the large skeleton demon beast is quite the brawler. Who would have suspected? Despite having dealt him some rather serious blows, I found myself running out of both arrows and health. This, my dear Delilah, was an immediate cause for concern. You see, the arrows were necessary for me to kill him with, while the health, on the other hand, was necessary for me not to die. Unfortunately, when the dust settled, it turned out that the only thing to be killed in the Killing Grounds was me. However, my dear Delilah, I have learned something important from the engagement. Skeletron can bleed.